Hello, and welcome to the Puck Buddy Podcast.
Hello again.
We are back, and we are here to talk about the upcoming, games and matchups, and just pretty much what you should expect from the second week of hockey we're going into right now.
Week two.
Ooh, yeah, we're moving along in the season. So once again, we are the Puck Buddy Podcast. I'm here with your hosts, Cameron Che, Eddie Murad, and myself, Bo Hendrickson. We're here to give you expert fantasy advice about fantasy hockey and, hopefully lead you towards a fantasy championship. That's our goal here, every year. So for this episode, we're gonna start off with a couple of power rankings. We're gonna give you some ESPN power rankings of how the teams are currently ranked, and then we're gonna kind of give you our rankings. This way we can kind of let you know, like, what is our stance on the current NHL and the teams playing with it, so you can kind of know, our thought process on how we're making decisions and searching matchups, whether we think a player on a more dominant team is going to be better than a player on a more weak team. Like, you'll know this because of the rankings we're about to provide you. So with that being said, let's start off right off the back with the ESPN power rankings. So
Rankings!
Ooh, power. Let's start off with the Atlantic Division. So the ESPN power rankings for the Atlantic have Tampa Bay as number 1, the Canadiens as number 2, Florida Panthers as number 3, Boston Bruins as number 4, the Buffalo Sabres as number 5, the Detroit Red Wings as number 6, the Ottawa Senators as number 7, and the Maple Leafs coming in hot and last. All right, boys, what do you have to say about these? What do you agree, disagree?
Maple Leafs, number 1.
Well, we are sold there.
Yeah, we're done. Let's go home.
Yep.
No, I think Tampa Bay, I think we all agree, is number 1 on that list.
Yeah.
I kind of have the Panthers higher than them. I think
Do you?
Well, their record shows it, and then their goaltending has proved it. I'm high on the Luongo, and I think they have a great defensive core and offensive core this year. Adding Huberdeau back when he's coming back from injury will just increase that even more. Tampa Bay has been a playoff team that has gone deep in the playoffs, though, so it's tough to put the Panthers above them.
Especially just after week 1.
Yeah, just after week 1, though, that's why I'm putting them ahead of them in my rankings.
Yeah.
But in the long run, I'm guessing Tampa Bay will end up on top.
Yeah, I'm very comfortable putting Panthers either 1 or a very close second to Tampa Bay, but I do believe Tampa deserves the first or second spot.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any argument against that.
They'll definitely be the more dominant teams in the division. So when you see those two teams in any matchup, expect them to, hopefully pull off the W with the expert goaltending they have and just the team built around them. So let's look a little deeper. Let's get into the kind of the thick of the division. The Montreal Canadiens, the Boston Bruins, the Senators, and the Wings. Where do we kind of have those guys ranked?
Well, for me, ESPN has the Canadiens at number 2, and the reason that I personally dropped them down a few spots to number 5, actually, for me, was because Carey Price is still out. So once Carey Price returns, I believe that the Habs definitely will move up many spots, possibly to number 3 for myself. But as of right now, with Price out, I don't believe that they're a top 3 Atlantic Division team.
I totally agree with you. They're definitely number 6 in my rankings because of that, too. Someone I have third, though, is actually the Senators. I was very impressed with the way they've been playing.
I also have that number 3. So
yeah? Oh, okay, so that's awesome.
Wow.
I mean, Carlson has been playing excellent. The only thing that I have problems with is their goaltending.
Yeah, Craig Anderson is no stud.
No, he's definitely
a bender.
But I mean, he's bald like Getzlab, so don't bald people like hang together and they rub off
Kinda.
their baldness on each other? Is that what happens?
bald. My eyes!
That's definitely his strategy. When he's on a breakaway, he just
should
takes
not wear
off his
a helmet.
helmet. Yeah.
He should totally just let the lights reflect off his bald
So
dome.
we're all in agreement that Craig Anderson would have done much better in the age where goaltenders didn't wear helmets.
Yeah,
Oh, without a doubt.
without yes.
Number 1 pick
Hands
every
down.
year.
So guys, because it's not the 1960s, the Senators are not higher than 3.
Number 1.
I mean, 3 is pretty high, but
That's pretty
It's
generous,
pretty good
in
for
my
them.
opinion.
what did you have him, Bo? What did you?
I
have?
honestly, I had him a little lower, but I'm kind of my expectations in terms of, I know we talked about the Canadians. I'm doing my rankings based off if Price is there, because my expectations he's going to be back within the week.
Yeah, I agree.
And
Totally.
with an elite goaltender like that, there's no way they're not going to be anything higher than third or fourth.
Yeah.
But in terms of the Senators, I do think they have a more well built team
They have a
compared
complete core, yeah.
Exactly, and having an all-star defenseman like Erik Karlsson can do wonders for any team. So I won't disagree that they're number 3, but I would as a season, temper your expectations as the season goes on, because it is a long season.
Yeah, and definitely see that the Habs and the Sens possibly switch places. I would agree.
So one more team in the thick of it, the Boston Bruins.
Yes.
I'm gonna stay away from this one, Bo.
You're gonna stay away?
I'm not a Marchand or a Bergeron.
The Marchand will make any team great,
Yeah.
in my opinion. And plus Bergeron coming back eventually, that'll take your team off. Just the main thing that I have doubts on this team is their defense. Char's there, but he's getting old and
Can
he's
he
slow.
walk? Does he use a walker? I don't even know.
No, like literally Bergeron just pushes him on the ice, and then he just glides to where he needs to be.
and the momentum just keeps going.
Well, he's so big, he's like a huge pylon, so they can't.
How strong is his gravitational pull?
Well, I hear he pulls closer to Rask as the game goes on, so
makes
he
sense.
kind of stays near the goal.
It's actually Rask that gets pulled closer to him.
Oh.
That's why he scored so many goals.
Exactly.
Okay, I get it.
Exactly. He's just very large.
Yeah, but no, seriously, I agree. I don't think their defensive core is as strong as it was, say 4 years ago, when Char was a little bit younger and Kruger just come into the league.
Krug is like their best defenseman, but he's so small.
Small.
He's so small.
He is in front of the net. He doesn't lose net battles, but he can get pushed out of the way by
For
larger
his size,
forwards.
he's a great defenseman. He's definitely a schmedium defenseman.
Yeah, no, I agree.
He's a solid medium.
He's a solid schmedium.
All right, so next team I want to mention is the Detroit Red Wings.
I have them very far down.
Will they make the playoffs for another year? This is the huge question.
I think this is the year that they won't. I think their streak ends this year.
That's big.
Because the loss of Datsuk is so big, and they just they're not deep. They're really not deep. They're not a deep team.
Yeah.
I will say they do have a lot of promising rookies, but in today's NHL, rookies can only get you so far.
Yeah.
Don't expect them to carry the team, because there's no way they're going to. And Zenneberg's too old at this age to do it himself.
Yeah.
But I do kind of like some additions they got with Mike Green. Franz Nielsen's looking good. Even Thomas Vanek is having himself a couple of games. So I won't say they're the worst team in the Atlantic, but they're definitely middle of the pack for me.
And they just won 5-1. Green had a hat trick. I got to be honest, do not expect that
Anymore.
frequently throughout the season from them.
I definitely. I mean, I could see them rising to because I have them in the 7th spot, right above the Leafs. But I could totally see them moving up to like the 4th spot. If
Is
they
it
get
sad
on
that I have them below the Leafs?
No, that's not sad at
I
all.
literally have them in 8th out of 8.
I could be crying a little bit.
Buddy Bo. But yeah, they have the talent, and I honestly think they have pretty decent goaltending. Like Mrazek is really good, and they just need to get it together and create that chemistry again. But maybe not this year.
Yeah,
Next year.
this year will be tough, but they are an outstanding organization. They've known for making the playoffs, so don't be surprised if you see them there. Just don't really expect them to be there.
They don't have
I
a
guess is what you're
Babcock anymore.
Yeah, there's no more Babs for
I miss
them.
the Bab.
But so let's talk about the last two in the division. Sabres, Maple Leafs. Are we kind of happy with them rounding out the bottom? Maybe they could be up a little bit more, but we expect them to be in the bottom 3, bottom 4.
I have them, 6th. And I honestly, they could be lower because of the injuries to Eichel and to Kane. But yeah, I'm cool with them being on the bottom of the pack.
Yeah, definitely 6th for me too. The Sabres are very talented. Okay, goaltending. Definitely
But they're
middle.
just missing some key pieces.
They're definitely exactly.
All right. Well, with the Atlantic out of the way, let's move on to the Metropolitan Division. So this is a high-powered division with I would say it's a little more competitive than the Atlantic.
I agree.
So this is going to be a little tougher. But let's start with the ESPN rankings that we were given for the Metropolitan. So we have the Pittsburgh Penguins as number 1, Washington Capitals as number 2. They gave us the Carolina Hurricanes as number 3. Oh man, that's tough. The New York Rangers is number 4. Philadelphia Flyers is number 5. The New Jersey Devils coming in at 6. The New York Islanders coming in at 7th. And to end it all, Cam's almighty Blue Jackets at number 8.
Getting cold out here. Put on your jackets, right?
So wait one moment as we collect Cam's tears.
Yes. They're like gypsy tears,
They are.
but better.
I don't need. I only need your tears.
but Asian.
But
now,
Asian,
we're all Asian, by the way, if you didn't know.
Half.
Now,
Hello.
looking into the Metro rankings, I agree with the top 2. I have Pens and then the Caps.
Yeah.
What do you have?
I
Eddie?
have the same. There's,
about you,
There's
Mo?
really no contention there.
There's no question. It's going to be those two at the top, no matter what.
Yep.
Okay, now the Canes. That is an interesting pick. What do you guys think? Where do you think they should be on this list?
I have them 6th.
I have him at 7. I'm pretty sure this guy was either drunk or, taking some type of drug, because there's no way the Hurricanes are ever going to be number 3.
I also have them number 6. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, don't. For the record, ESPN does not know hockey. I know we're giving you these rankings, but we're just doing it so we can show that we are better than them because they don't know hockey.
Quick background, I was at ESPN Zone yesterday and I did not want to see the Sharks score. So I asked the guy, will I be seeing hockey on these screens? And he turned to me, very stoic, and he said, sir, this is the ESPN Zone. And then I sat at my table.
And watched football and baseball for like 19 hours.
I did. They have really good queso. But I think we're just going to go down the list for the Metropolitan. I agree that the Rangers and the Flyers are close. I put them as 3 and 4. I had the Islanders above the Devils, but that's such a close call that you could have either way. Yeah, Jackets. I'm so sorry, but Cam Atkinson, you need to find a team,
Yeah.
Get
seriously.
traded to the Sharks.
please.
That would actually be
Yeah.
pretty sweet. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty similar. I have the New York Rangers 3rd. I have the Islanders right behind them, and then the Flyers behind them. So Rangers, Islanders, Flyers, and then the Canes or the Hurricanes at number 6.
So we all seem to kind of agree the Rangers will kind of come in at 3rd. A little below that is a little more muddied. I mean, I think we have a little interchanging of the Flyers, the Islanders, and the Devils. Honestly, they were all going to be fighting for a playoff spot at the end of the season. That's what we expect, and that's how it should be. But in terms of who comes up on top, that's why we have the entire season for. So we'll kind of look into that as we go. So let's move our way over to the western side of the conference. Started off with the Central Division. So ESPN has it with the Blackhawks at first.
Understandable. They always
Yeah.
kind of jock on them.
Yeah, maybe. And then the Dallas Stars is number 2. The Nashville Predators is number 3. The St. Louis Blues is number 4.
Uh-huh.
The Wild is number 5.
Wild.
Winnipeg Jets is number 6. And the Avalanche coming in at number 7.
Now I'm really what?
Because Avalanche is...
Oh, I get it. Avalanches. Now, so going on to the Central Division, like Bo just talked about, I believe the guy did like a NHL 14, play the season simulation and then just wrote down those results, because how in the hell are the Blackhawks number 1 right now? I'm sorry. But the way that they've been playing, I do not believe that they are above the Stars, and I do not believe they are above the Blues.
Well, they really need to
Or even
fix
the
their
Predators.
PK because they've let in 6 power play goals in 2 games. So
Yeah.
if they can fix that, they might. I mean, they won't. I don't think they'll be at the top, but they'll definitely be contending for the top 3 spots.
So-
And I mean, that's where I have them right now. I have them in 3rd.
You are
Or
generous.
no, I have them in 4th. Sorry about that.
You
Yeah.
are still generous.
Thank you. But yeah, I mean, they're just a great team. They're currently they're in last place in the Central Division. So
So clearly first in the Central Division.
yeah, that's clearly they should be first.
Yes,
but,
absolutely.
According
no,
to
they're a
ESPN
better.
analytics.
Yeah, the ESPN analysts are just.
When did they stop covering hockey? 2014, right?
I think after what? Oh yeah.
Yeah, so
Well, after
I would-
football's over, they just start drinking and partying, and they're like, "What else do we need to?" Oh yeah, we have hockey rankings.
I think their
The thing with
curling
the
rankings are
sticks.
better. Now, yeah, to move along a little bit, I personally have Blues, Stars, Preds,
Yeah.
Avalanche,
Okay.
Hawks, Jets, Wild. Reason the Avalanche are so high for me is I've watched all of their games. They were down 2-0 in the first in 2 games in a row, and they came back valiantly and then owned the rest of the game in possession, in shots, hits. I zone time. I just think that the Abs, are a lot more promising than the Hawks at this current moment in the season. That is why they're above the Hawks.
Do you think that's because of their coaching change, or is it just that they started clicking more? Because you've been watching all the games.
Yeah.
What do you see different that maybe that
Yeah,
happened last year?
coaching can be a big thing. They are a lot more aggressive, and I know that seems a little bit weird because Patrick Waugh was very, a forechecking game.
He was gung ho about it.
But the game that I watched, what I noticed, it was a 2-1-2. I think they were pulling for their forechecks. So that means they have two guys deep, and they have some speed on that team. So they were getting the puck a lot on the forecheck, very similar to the Shark style of play. So I think that's why I was so impressed. I'm so used to seeing that style of play, and it really paid off for them. So for me, Avs are fourth.
Okay, not bad. So, I mean, I think we're pretty much on agreement that the Blue Stars and Predators are leading right now.
Yep.
That's
A little below that is, we kind of have
a
our
wash.
own opinions.
Yeah.
For me, I mean, the Avalanche are good, but I just can't deny the Blackhawks. I know they're not looking good right now, but they are a younger team than in past. They still have their veterans, but they have a lot more rookies, and especially with rookies,
talented rookies.
yeah, exactly. So it takes time for rookies, to get acclimated to the NHL season and the wear and tear it requires. But
I mean, if you look at even Saad and Teravainen,
Saad's not
Yeah.
there anymore. But
neither is Teravainen. But what I'm saying is they got time to get refined and seasoned on
I see
the
what you're
Blackhawks team
saying.
with all these great players, and then they got shipped off and they're doing well on the
really
other
well.
team.
Yeah,
doing well.
Teravainen's doing well too. But,
Yeah, I mean, just expect Panarin and all these other rookies.
But
to
you
do
know
well
who's
too.
not doing well right now? Saad. Thank you, Saad, on my fantasy team.
Well,
Um,
I mean,
that's so sad.
so sad.
I mean,
So blue.
yeah, he is. He is on the Blues. Well, Jackets.
Blue Jackets.
I meant Blues is like the sadness.
Yeah,
that's
I
what
know.
I call them. Okay, let's move on to Pacific. Bo, take us away.
All right, so Pacific, this is what we're all stoked about, and it's going to be a fact that we all have the Sharks number one.
This isn't
and
biased at all in any way, shape, or form.
But actually, it's not.
It really isn't though, because
They're
I
actually
know
dominant.
usually this is you expect us all to have the Sharks first, but the Ducks don't look that good this season, and they've been holding down the Pacific for the past 4 years.
the Ducks and
but-
the Kings, yeah.
Yeah, the Ducks and the Kings, but the Kings are quickless, so they're automatically dropping.
Slow.
Yeah, they're very slow, and the Ducks they're having a bit of a struggle with their signings and just trying to get a whole team together. They still don't have Lindholm signed. They just signed Raquel, but they're just being built around Getzlaff and Perry.
And they're
It can
talking-
only last you so many
Yeah,
years.
Getzlaff and Perry are getting old.
Yeah,
too,
they're getting
and
old.
They're declining a little
Yeah,
bit.
we mentioned in episode 1 Getzlav's declining stats the past 3 years, so you can't rely on him anymore to really carry the majority
Although
of
he
your team.
did get that sweet goal, that power play goal.
Oh, that deflected off the defenseman's stick.
It was sweet.
Perfectly planned.
It was a very good tying
Calculated.
goal, but I mean, the Islanders came back and won in overtime in like 30 seconds, and it was one guy that skated through all three players. It was a little pathetic. So
It's a beauty of a goal, though. But yeah, don't expect too much. I mean, Sharks are pretty much have a stranglehold on the division in terms of
I
projections.
still have Ducks second. Where do you guys have the Ducks?
third.
Third.
I'm there with you second. I mean, even though we're kind of talking a little down on them, they're still going to be a
still-
good team. They were number one in the Pacific for the past 4 years for a reason,
Yeah, they're
and
strong.
they'll still be
strong
up
team.
there.
I have third because I don't have faith in Gibson yet.
It's true.
Yet
Understandable.
I can't trust him yet. So I have the Oilers above them. Don't hit me.
Damn.
So that's pretty bold, but
Yeah.
we're kind of not too far off because we have the Oilers in third right
I
now.
have them in third. Yeah.
And with good reason too, because they've been producing like a playoff team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at Connor McDavid; he's carrying that team. He's literally putting, Todd McClellan on his back, which is not an easy thing to do. And
He's a little
He's not
tough.
that fat.
he looks like a Ninja Turtle.
With spiked tips.
Yeah,
with like.
Now, I was
Like
going to say something, but I kind of forgot. Oh, that's right. Maybe the Oilers, all they had to do was get rid of all their first round picks. And then.
Yeah. Whatever. Yakupov and Hall.
and then
Well-
you actually have a hockey team.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. They basically were just a ton of talent on the front end, standing on toothpicks for defensemen, and now they actually boosted their defensemen. So
Got some
it's,
floss in
yeah.
there. So, I mean, that's a more effective way
yeah,
to
get
clean
rid of
your
the
teeth.
plaque. Definitely trying to stay good for the dentist. So
So you guys have Sharks, Ducks, and Oilers in the top three.
Yes.
Now the bottom four, the thing I'm most interested in seeing, because they had the Flames, ESPN had the Flames at number 3. Where are the Flames for you guys?
Oh, they're number
Yeah.
6, unfortunately. They
They-
could be higher. I kind of want to put them 5th, but I have the Canucks there, and
I
it's
have them
only
5th.
because the Canucks beat them, and they won 2-1.
That
or
is kind of
something.
sad.
Yeah.
But
But I'm waiting for Johnny Gaudreau and Monahan to have their time.
Exactly.
And once they start getting on their roll, they're going to climb up the rankings for sure. Until then, I have to keep them below.
Yeah, the
which
Flames will find their way. They're in a little bit of trouble right now. I mean, Brian Elliott, the goalie that they just signed this offseason, has not been playing his game.
he will.
He will eventually.
will.
He'll get back on track. Like you said, Monahan, Gaudreau, they're too good of players to be bottled up the rest of the
Yeah.
season. So for now, they're going to remain pretty low, but
Yeah.
expect them to rise over the Canucks and probably the Coyotes over the past couple
The
games.
Coyotes, I do expect to be a playoff contending team, though. They've been getting a lot of acquisitions and a lot of good players, and they're very young. And
Those dirty D's though.
the Duclair,
Domi and Duclair.
yeah,
Very
those double D's.
Those are awesome. Yeah, that was Eddie blowing his nose for the family-friendly audience. So,
tissue?
for me, I had the Kings in last. I don't know about you guys because Quick's out, and the way they've been playing in front of the big old Jeff, I don't know. Zatkop, that's his last name.
Yeah.
I don't know. How do you guys feel about it?
I think we're right there with you, man.
It was painful to I don't like the Kings in the
Yeah,
slightest.
sad, right?
But it's
Yeah.
tough to put them
Yeah.
at the bottom of the division, and
especially seeing them at the top year after year after year, beating
destroying
out the Sharks.
year after
So
year.
it's something we're used to expecting, but this is a different Kings team. This is not something that we've seen over their cup runs and their
Yeah.
championship years. So
Now, I will say Setaguchi has looked very good in what I've seen him play.
the Gooch.
But I don't think he can carry that team.
no way, no how, and neither can Kopitar. So don't expect much from the Kings as long as Quick is out. Once he gets back, they might be able to climb their way back in. But like we were saying earlier, that's sort of 4 months, if not more, out of the way. So that's a lot of games for Zakhoff to pull something out of his hat, and there's not going to be much there. So
Very empty.
I think that pretty much wraps up our power rankings. I hope you guys got a little bit of an idea of how we kind of view these divisions, who we think are the top teams, who are the bottoms, and how we're kind of making our decisions matchup based for different players. So now that you kind of are aware of how we view all teams in the NHL, we're gonna go through a couple of names. A couple of decisions you might have to make on big days like Thursday and Saturday, where all the hockey teams are playing their games, and you're gonna have to choose between a couple of big name players. So I'm just gonna start it off with this is a Thursday matchup. These are a couple of names that are on one or two teams in our league, and let's see, who would you guys pick for your right wing position between Louis Eriksson versus Buffalo, TJ Oshie at Florida, and Corey Perry at Philadelphia.
Well, I loved that nickname, but he still makes the cut. I would choose Erickson and Perry over Oshie.
Yeah,
In that order.
Yeah, in order. Erickson first, Perry second, Oshie third. And the reason why I put that is Louis Eriksson is playing on the top line with Vancouver, and they're playing against Buffalo, a kind of weaker team. He already has a point, and he should have had a goal. I mean, he scored it on his own team, but
It was a great
it was still a
goal.
great goal.
I
yeah.
think that still counts.
Yeah, no, I think it should.
I mean, and he's playing with twins. Twins!
Ginger twins.
My favorite.
The ginger snaps. So the reason why Oshie's last, and a lot of people are very high on Oshie, is just because he has no points right now. That top line really needs to get connecting. I know you're not very high on Oshie.
I'm not a big Oshie fan. I think Oshie got a lot of attention when during the Olympics when he had those shootout goals. And I think he kind of got a little too much credit for his normal play. He has great hands. He's a very good hockey sense. I don't see him as a first rounder pick for fantasy. I just don't. I'm not a big fan of Oshie.
Yeah, I think I like Oshie a little more than you, but I agree that he probably would be my last choice.
Okay, so we're going with Louis Eriksson number 1,
And Perry number 2.
Corey Perry number 2, and you can sit Oshie for this Thursday matchup. So let's move on to another Thursday matchup. Between these three players, who would you start? Pick two. So we got Patrick Hornquist versus the San Jose Sharks at home. Gallagher versus the Arizona Coyotes at home. Justin Williams playing at Florida. So how would you rank these three players, and which two would you pick?
My rankings in order would go Brendan Gallagher, number one, Hornquist, number two, and then I would sit Justin Williams for this one. And the reason why, as much as I, love the Penguins and how talented they are on the front end, I don't want to see anyone do well against San Jose. It's going to be tough to play San Jose. They have a lot of bad blood from the playoffs. I believe that's going to be a tough game for them. They're going to play very hard. But Gallagher has actually been surprising with 3 points in 2 games, and he's kind of riding a point streak. And he's playing Arizona, and they're at home. So I would play Brandon Gallagher first. Hornquist, you got to go with the talent second. But Justin Williams, you can sit. He has no points right now, so I would just forget about him.
Strangely enough, I have the exact same picks, and my reasoning is the same. I think Gallagher has been amazing so far, and yeah, they're playing Arizona, who they're not as weak as they used to be, but I do not have faith in Mike Smith. I just don't think they're very good on the back end. And Mr. Horny over here versus San Jose, same reason. I think San Jose has the reason to win this game more than the Penguins do. Penguins had their time with the Cup, and the Sharks only got a taste of the finals, and it was taken away from them. So I think they are going to be playing very hard.
I hope so.
Especially Martin Jones. I think he's going to have a very good game against the Penguins.
Well, he had great games during the playoffs. So let's move on to another couple of picks we have. This is another Thursday matchup, and we are going to be deciding between Ryan O'Reilly at Vancouver, James Van Riemsdyk at Minnesota, Shane Doan at Montreal, or Chris Kunitz at home versus the San Jose Sharks. Between those 4 players, I'm going to need you guys to pick 2, give me your rankings, and tell me why.
Pick 2. Well, I can definitely pick 2, and I'll tell you my bonus third and why. But I have O'Reilly as number 1 at Vancouver. O'Reilly has been a beast so far this season. And he's playing Vancouver, who, as we know, have that specialty Eriksson to score on his own net. I'm kidding, that's not going to happen again. But I think O'Reilly has proven himself to be a number 1 pick out of these 4.
O'Reilly.
O'Reilly. I think my second is going to be the Kunitz versus San Jose. Kunitz has done well. He has 2 assists so far. Like I said, San Jose is going to have a very good game against the Penguins, but Kunitz is someone that is very hard to keep off the scoreboard, especially on the power play. My third, like I said, is actually Doan over Van Riemsdyk, because Doan has 1 game, 1 goal, and he's playing not against Carey Price in Montreal.
Yeah, that's true. Honestly, I have James Van Riemsdyk above Doan in my depth chart there, so those would be switched. Everything else is the same. O'Reilly is such a stud. I would totally play him first. Kunitz second. JVR, I just think he has more talent. He has a goal in 2 games. It's not the best. But Doan has been steadily declining. He has 1 goal in 1 game, so he's at a point per game right now, and he'll get you hits. But if you don't need hits and you need a little more of the upside, I would take James Van Riemsdyk. He definitely has more of the talent, and that's where I stand on that one.
Yeah, no, not bad picks. Between those 2, it's kind of tough to make that decision.
Yeah.
So let's move on to another Thursday matchup. This is one that's actually on Thursday and Saturday, so we're going to be going through both these matchups. But let's start with Thursday. So on Thursday we have for the center position we have Sean Monahan at home versus Carolina, or Thomas Hertl playing in Pittsburgh.
Tomash.
The Ninja Hurdle, yes. Then Paul Stastny playing at Tampa Bay. Between those 3, I need you guys to pick another 2 and tell me which centers you're going to go with this Thursday.
Okay, this one's a little tougher for me just because Stastny was on the wire for so long and Monahan was drafted. But I would play Stastny over Monahan in this one simply because he's been on a point streak. He has 6 points in 3 games. That is incredible. And Monahan has been kind of slumping. I would kind of wait until he can maybe get some points going and him and Goudreau start getting on the right track. Hurdle, I would definitely sit in this one. It's versus Pittsburgh. It's going to be a very tough matchup. You can expect the studs to get it, but maybe not. Maybe Hurdle will get a few here and there, maybe, but I doubt it. So in order, I'd say Stastny, Monahan, and Hurdle.
Yeah, I agree. Really quick, Stastny with 6 points, and Monahan with just a goal, but I would play him over Hurdle. The top line so far with the Joes and Hurdle have been shut down the entire season so far, and in the playoffs versus Pittsburgh. So Hurdle's out for me.
Yep.
All right, let's look at this matchup again for Saturday. I know, so we have Monahan first for the Thursday one, Stastny second for second, and then Hurdle coming in third. So are these the same rankings that you'll have for Saturday?
For me, no. So we have Monahan versus St. Louis, Hurdle at Detroit, and Stastny at Florida. So for me, I actually have Hurdle as my first. Reason being is, like I said, the Joes and Hurdle have not been producing so far, but I think if they are going to start against any team, it would be Detroit. So I believe that
They
Hurdle,
always play well against Detroit.
and I also believe because Detroit is so weak this year that they're gonna find something. So I have faith that Hurdle will get a couple points in that game. Stastny, I think no matter what you do, Stastny should be picked. And only reason I'm picking him second is that matchup. Because he's at Florida with, of course, Luongo.
Yeah.
So Monahan for me is to sit out.
It's a tough St. Louis team. I pretty much agree with you. I just have Stastny and Hurdle switched, and Monahan is still last. I would sit him.
Yeah, that one's a little tough because Monahan's the only one with the home matchup, so that's usually a little more favorable. But until Monahan and Goudreau start producing together, I'm fine sitting him.
Yeah, especially against a St. Louis, like a hot St. Louis team.
Yeah. So we're gonna
Hot
go
cakes.
to so hot.
So hot.
So we're moving on to another another couple of players that are both playing Thursday and Saturday, similar to the ones discussed before. So let's talk about a Thursday matchup of Malkin versus San Jose. This is Henrik Sedin at home versus Buffalo. Nicholas Backstrom playing in Florida.
Baby got Backstrom. Sorry.
Just really quick for me, I have Malkin number 1 versus San Jose. He's at home, and it's Malkin. Backstrom at number 2, just because Backstrom, on that power play with Ovi, I think may get a point or two against Florida. And then, Sedin would be sat for me, on Thursday.
Okay. Yeah, this is a tough one. But you can't sit Malkin. Malkin is just too good. He's got a point per game right now. He's injury prone, but that's not something you have to worry about right now. Backstrom, I would play second, and Henrik Sedin, so I'm with Cam on that.
Cool.
All right. So let's look at these same players, but in different matchups for Saturday. So we once again have Malkin playing at Nashville, and we have Henrik Sedin playing in LA, and Nicholas Backstrom has the only home matchup versus the New York Rangers. You guys going to keep the same rankings, or what do you got?
No, actually, I actually have Malkin sitting and Henrik Sedin number 1, so I switched those two. Reason being is the matchup. We talked about LA a lot and Jeff Zakhoff's inability to make those key saves so far. So I think Henrik Sedin, along with Eriksson and his brother, are going to be kind of unstoppable in that game. They still have that chemistry. And Malkin at Nashville, it's hard to sit Malkin, but if you look at the matchup between Backstrom and the Rangers, there's a lot of history between the Caps and the Rangers, and I think Backstrom is going to be, since he's at home, he's going to have a lot of motivation to get those points. So for me, it's a little bit of a risk, but I would put Henrik and then Backstrom over Malkin.
That is interesting. I cannot find myself to sit Malkin ever, unfortunately. I do see your reasoning behind that. I would definitely have Sedin very high because he's playing LA. Backstrom is my sit of the week or for this matchup, just because I'm not sitting Malkin and I'm playing Heinrich versus LA. So that's where I stand on that.
Okay, I can see both of your points. My input on that is it's tough to sit Malkin, but as long as Sidney Crosby is out, Malkin is their number 1 option, so I got to play him every time. But if Crosby comes back, I could be a little more comfortable with sitting Malkin for that matchup.
I could also support Cam's thing because they have to rely on Malkin. They're going to be covering him a lot more. So they don't have like the two options, you know.
It's true, but they might also put Malkin in a better lineup with some better players, so he's better surrounded.
Yeah.
Guess
But
we'll see.
either
We'll see,
we'll
we'll
see.
see.
There's only one way to find that out.
Yeah.
So let's move on to our second to last matchups and player options. We're gonna look at another Saturday games, and I think we're gonna be deciding between a couple of wingers here. We got Bobby Ryan at home versus Tampa Bay. Gustav Nyquist playing the San Jose Sharks in Detroit, and Rick Nash playing against the Washington Capitals in Washington, and Marcus Johansson. This is the Johansson on the Washington.
Johansson.
Marcus Johansson.
Johansson.
Well, they got to put a Y in front of his name if it's Johansson.
Johansson.
Obviously, he misspelled his own name.
Johansson.
But anyways, the Yo Hansen is playing at home versus the New York Rangers. So between those four players, I'm going to need you guys to give me two. And I know this is a little tougher, so I'll expect a little more.
This is a
Yeah.
hard one.
Yeah, this one was tough for me, for all of us, I think. But I'm gonna have to go with my buddy Johansson. I definitely talked about him in our first podcast, and versus the Rangers, I think he'll be doing fine. He has an assist in 2 games, and I definitely think he'll get some more points. My second pick would be Bobby Ryan. He's been on a 2-point streak with 3 games, and he's been showing up, and I really hope he starts showing up more. He'll definitely provide more offensive support for the Senators, which they really need from him. He's so talented. My next one is Nash. Rick Nash has kind of been on the decline, but against Washington, I think he'll be okay, especially on that top line. And then I'm sitting Nyquist. Honestly, Nyquist has been doing the best out of all 4 of these choices. He has 3 points in 3 games. They're all assists. But it was all in 1 game, too, and it was against a weak team. So
That 5-1 win that I said not to expect again. So,
exactly, yeah. Cam mentioned it earlier, so...
Yeah, and I literally have the exact same picks.
Okay.
Now, I know Bo only said 1 and 2, but just in case you have only 2 or 3 of these players, Johansson, Das Birai, Missa Nasty, and then that NyQuil to put you to sleep. So... Johansson and that B-Rye would be the top 2 for me.
Monsieur Nasty. Monsieur.
So nasty.
So nasty, yeah.
Well, let's move on to one more nasty matchup we got going on. This is the last one we're going to be discussing, and it's a Saturday matchup, and we're going to roll with either UC Jokinen at home versus Colorado Avalanche, Taylor Hall at home versus Minnesota, or Antti Panarin at home versus Toronto. So between those 3 left wingers, you guys got to give me 2.
So this is the hardest one because they all are sucking right now. So for me, Artemi Panarin has 0 points and he's -1, but his matchup versus Toronto is got to be the best one. So I do Panarin and Hall versus Minnesota, also with 0 points, and then Sitting Jokinen, who has 1 assist. However, he's versus Colorado, who I had a little man crush on earlier today. So I'm going to sit Jokinen and play Panarin and Hall.
Yeah, I literally have Hall and Panarin as my starters. I'm sitting Jokinen, like you said, but there's a bunch of arrows just like Hall, Panarin, Hall, Panarin, Hall, Panarin.
It's close.
It's very close.
It's the battle of the bads at this point.
It is the battle of the bads, but I can't deny Panarin's matchup versus Toronto. I
It's gonna be
initially
amazing,
had Hall versus Minnesota just because I think he's the top line. He's their power forward, but I can't. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the matchup there. And Panarin is first, Hall second, Jokinen third.
Well, there you go, guys. That wraps up our starts and sits for week 2 of the NHL season. We want to thank you all for once again listening to the Puck Buddy podcast. We had a great time, being here with you guys and talking, fantasy hockey. It's what we love to do. So thank you all once again, and, peace out from the Puck Buddies.
Woo!
Yeah.
Good luck in your matchup, guys.
Unless you're against me.
Or me. Or you.
I didn't press the
Or
stop
him.
button.
Or
We're
both.
still recording.
Oh my God.